Hey, welcome back. This will be my full breakdown Easter egg video for Spider-Man No Way Home. So if you haven't seen the movie, click away because there's going to be spoilers ahead. We're going to break down every Easter egg in this movie. And if you're new, please hit the subscribe button for more Easter egg videos coming soon. Spider-Man No Way Home might just have the most Easter eggs out of any of the Marvel movies I've ever seen. From Spider-Man callbacks to MCU deep cuts, the amount of references and secrets tucked away in this movie is truly mind-blowing. The video games, the comics, prior movies, and even internet memes all get a callback here in this film. Chances are, however, that you were all caught up in the excitement and missed out on a whole bunch of Easter eggs while watching this movie. Of course, like us, you're going to see it again and again and again to catch every last cameo, nod, and wink to Marvel's cinematic history. But to help make your rewatch even better, we've collected some of the best Easter eggs and best references in No Way Home. And we did a countdown for you. Now, here's my top 25 Easter eggs and references of Spider Man No Way Home. Our first Easter egg. What else? It's a reference to Tony Stark, of course. The robotic arm in Happy's condo is actually Dumb E, one half of Tony Stark's helper arms, the other being you. They were seen in the Iron Man trilogy and can probably count as being one of the most obscure Easter eggs found in No Way Home. Number 2, damage control. The federal agents in this movie, who one of them played by Succession's Arian Moayed, yells outside Aunt May's house. In a manner of speaking, he's correct. He's part of Marvel's Damage Control, a superhero cleanup operation that first appeared in MCU after Tony Stark's battle with the Ironmonger in the first Iron Man movie. In the comics, the group has existed in various forms since the 80s. Number 3, Howard Stark in the Midtown High mural. Peter Parker's return to high school for his senior year is fraught with tension and Mysterio conspiracy theories from one member of the faculty. Look behind Peter in this scene with the teachers, and you'll see the face of Howard Stark tucked away alongside inspirational real world figures. Number 4, Nick Fury is off planet. Yet another update on Nick Fury's whereabouts comes in No Way Home. The man from Damage Control replies to Peter Parker's request to speak to Nick Fury by telling Spider-Man that he's off planet. His exact whereabouts are unknown, though Spider-Man Far From Home's post-credit scene featured him lounging about on a Skrull spaceship. Maybe the Secret Invasion series will help clue us in on Fury's interstellar adventures. Number 5, MJ's real name. We all know MJ's real name, and it's not Michelle Jones. It's Michelle Jones Watson. That is, of course, a nod to the comics, um, being Mary Jane Watson, and for fans, little Easter egg. Number 6, Matt Murdock. Yes, Matt Murdock, the Daredevil. He's in Spider-Man No Way Home. And it's Charlie Cox playing him too. He's returning from the Netflix series. What that means for the status of those shows and how they fit into MCU is unclear, especially with Kingpin showing up in Hawkeye. But for now, let's deal with the absolutes. Matt Murdock is in the MCU now and is still doing that whole lawyer thing. Number 7, Feast. Aunt May is working for Feast, a charitable organization that helps the homeless and those in need. You might recognize Feast from the Spider-Man PS4 game. It's also where philanthropist Martin Lee, aka Mr. Negative, has his comic book origins. He hasn't appeared in the MCU yet, but this could be the first indication that he's lurking in the shadows. Number 8, all the Spider-Man villains and their fates. It feels odd to point out something that has been so heavily publicized going in, but yes, nearly every Spider-Man new character is pulled from a different universe and has appeared in previous Spider-Man movies. They are as follows: the Green Goblin from Spider-Man, Doctor Octopus from Spider-Man 2, the Sandman from Spider-Man 3, Lizard from Amazing Spider-Man, and Electro from Amazing Spider-Man 2. A large part of the plot revolves around their ultimate fates in their movies. In their own universes, Spider-Man killed them or at the very least helped contribute to their deaths. If they get sent back, they will be left to die. Peter does not want them to die, so he tries to give them a change of heart and cure their, powers. So and they all share cute stories. I really like how they reference that they all know Norman Osborn and all the scientists know each other. It's always something I love from the comics, and I'm glad they brought it here finally in a movie. Number 9. Norman Osborn's Green Goblin colors. Pretty early on in the movie, the Green Goblin gets into Norman Osborn's head and gets the better of him. In a fit of rage, Norman smashes the Goblin mask and heads to feast, almost in a exact replica to the Spider-Man 2, where Spider-Man gets rid of the Spider-Man costume. While speaking to Aunt May, he can be seen in purple and green clothes, which exactly match the color scheme of the original Green Goblin from the comics. Number 10. I'm something of a scientist myself. Norman Osborn's infamous line from 2002's Spider-Man movie has been used as a meme for the better part of 2 or 3 years now. I'm something of a blank myself template has been used to poke fun at current events. Number 11. Captain America's shield on the Statue of Liberty. You may have noticed the Statue of Liberty has undergone something of a makeover. It's now been redesigned to include Captain America's shield, though it's not known if it's attributed to Steve Rogers or the Captain America mantle as a whole. Too bad it doesn't stick around long because the Spider-Man battle the movie villains, destroying the monument during the climactic battle. Number 12. Toby Mcguire and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man histories. Yep, they're back. Truth be told, we could fill an entire piece with all the allusions to the cinematic histories of both Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Throughout No Way Home, we're peppered with mentions of their lives and tragedies that shaped them. Uncle Ben, Gwen Stacy are mentioned directly, as are the original fights between all the major villains. Dr. Octopus's plan for Spider-Man 2, the reactor with the power of the sun in the palm of your hand, is referenced multiple times. The Amazing Spider-Man also gets a shout out with Mcguire's Spider-Man calling Garfield's Spider-Man amazing. Tobey Maguire even addresses their relationship with MJ, saying that things were complicated, but they worked things out in the end. There are a lot more too, but there's so many, and we'll have to get to them at a later time. Number 13. Tobey Maguire's web fluid. Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland's Spider-Man have built-in web shooters that help them catch thieves just like flies. Mcguire, on the other hand, has organic web fluid from his wrist. This, of course, catches Garfield and Holland off guard, with the latter asking if his web fluid comes out anywhere else. You can take the teenager out of Queens, but you can't take the Queens out of the teenager. Number 14. The Peters recreating Spider-Man pointing meme. This isn't quite as on the nose as Into the Spideyverse's iconic meme taken from the 1960s show that saw an imitation of Spider-Man pointing at the real Spider-Man. Still, it's a fun little moment. While putting together a science experiment to help fix the villains, Ned asks for Peter. The trouble is, there's 3 Peters in the lab, and each of them point at themselves and then others to try to identify who Ned is trying to speak to. Number 15. The Rhino from Amazing Spider-Man 2. The very last scene of The Amazing Spider-Man 2 sees Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man come face to face with Paul Giamatti's Rhino. who is now charging at Spidey in a mechanical suit. While swapping war stories about which villains they fought, Garfield brings up the Rhino as one of the weirdest, but he's got nothing on fighting a purple alien in space. Number 16, Uncle Ben. In No Way Home's most emotional scene, Toby Mcguire and Andrew Garfield rip off some emotional band-aids and reveal that they each lost someone, like the MCU Peter losing his Aunt May. That helped drive them on to become stronger Spider-Man. Garfield's Spider-Man mentions Gwen Stacy, who we'll get to shortly, and Mcguire's Spider-Man brings up Uncle Ben. He even brings up his most famous piece of advice. Number 17, with great power comes great responsibility. Or whatever. If we're being pedantic about its comic origins, those are the words said most famously by Uncle Ben in Spider-Man's movie in 2002. In a tragic role reversal, it's Aunt May who tells Peter those words in the MCU just moments before she dies after Green Goblin's attack in the apartment. The Electro suit. This is number 18. Electro's blue-bodied look in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was widely ridiculed. Jamie Foxx's Electro thankfully gets a makeover here, looking far closer to just ordinary Jamie Foxx. In his Electro's disguise, towards the end of the movie, however, he taps into the MCU's energy and creates a new suit for himself. It's not just any suit, it closely resembles Electro's comic book costume. Number 19, Tobey Maguire's back issues. No, this wasn't just a Tobey is old joke. Spider-Man superfans will know that Tobey Maguire hurt his back on the Spider-Man 2 production, a move that reportedly could have had him replaced by Jake Gyllenhaal for this movie. Fortunately, that didn't come to pass, but No Way Home just couldn't resist one last dig at Maguire's back problems. A black Spider-Man? The MCU hasn't gotten its Miles Morales yet, but Jamie Foxx Electro hopes that there's a black Spider-Man out there somewhere. He also expresses his disappointment that Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man wasn't black. 21. The multiverse figures in the sky. No Way Home's final act sees the multiverse fully cracked open, and hundreds of people from different universes about to flood in. Among them is the Rhino from The Amazing Spider-Man 2. We're sure there are others hiding in there. There's a very scorpion-shaped creature in the sky, and this sequence also merits very few more through rewatches. 22. Spider-Man PS4 moves in the final scene. Tom Holland had previously teased that a move from the Spider-Man game made its way into No Way Home, and we think we spotted it. During the final shot of the movie, Spider-Man swings through the city and does a few spins and somersaults. Those moves certainly look familiar. So familiar, in fact, that I'm pretty sure we've been pulled from the Insomniac's game. Number 23. Go get him, Tiger. When Peter shows up to his first day back at high school, after his identity is revealed, Betty Brant reports on his arrival during the high school TV news report. Go get him, Tiger, she says as he walks into the building, an homage to Mary Jane's favorite nickname for Peter in the comics, dating all the way back to her very first appearance in The Amazing Spider-Man number 42 back in 1967. And number 24, Gwen Stacy callback. No moment has shaped Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man more than the day he couldn't save Gwen Stacy. The shuddering snap as she fell for her death still haunts the character in No Way Home. But he gets some form of redemption. After MJ and Ned are chased through the portal by a lizard onto the platform of the Statue of Liberty, MJ is suddenly knocked over the edge. Tom Holland's Spidey attempts to save her but is knocked back by the Green Goblin. In a heroic moment that matches any in the film, Garfield's Spider-Man leaps in to save her and manages to stop her before she falls in the moment that's mirrored by Gwen's demise. And that's all the Easter eggs in this movie. What did you think of the film? Did you find any other Easter eggs that we didn't mention here? Make sure to comment below and let me know. once you do have a chance to see the movie, post all your reactions in the comments below and let me know what your favorite live action Spider-Man film could be. This is definitely my favorite Spider-Man film, and it holds up, and I can't find any other better Spider-Man movie. This is number one, then Into the Spideyverse, and then the Toby Mcguire movie. Well, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe for more videos coming soon, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.